Welcome to Hochoka Podcast.
Hello, Mitakiepi, and welcome to Hochoka here at the center of St. Joseph's Indian Schools campus. I'm Scott Wooster, today's Hochoka host. We're glad you have joined our circle for perspectives of staff and students who are part of our Thiyóšpaye. Today, we talk with Virgil Takenalive, former counselor in the Big Boys dormitory, enrolled member of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, retired station KLND DJ who went by the name of Lakota Soul Man, and he is also our treasured powwow MC. He's with us this weekend to enjoy our 46th annual powwow. So welcome, Virgil.
Thank you, Scott. Good
Absolutely.
to see you again.
Good to have you here.
Yeah, I'm glad we made it through COVID and we're sitting right here.
Here we are.
Here we are, yep.
And it's been 3 years since we've had people come to the campus for this event.
Yep.
And we missed them. We really did.
Well, I truly missed you guys, too.
Yeah. So tomorrow's going to be a big day. It's going to be a celebration, a party for all of us.
Yeah.
And you're at the helm of it. You're the MC, so you get to direct traffic a little bit out there, which is going to be nice. For the folks who may not know who you are, if you don't mind introducing yourself, and you can introduce yourself in a traditional way too, if you would, please.
All right. Mitakiepi le chantel hiti ka imacha pelo na iong slate mataha. Na wamrichi ka la oya ke wati. Ana hel 1987 he ha hechewati na heche machake. No toina lechewahi St. Joseph's Indian School 1976. Wa she wale you can lechewahi na. To wokiksi ki washtestecha. Lele oina iomaki pito oina dohan lewahi hantana asle. Lampetiki mitrakola waji. Ich bin okay ab makawichoni ekigna kenyka. Ela dakuhe washiche bittersweet. Ash kola ki lila waza ke cha Dennis Lukowski wa ke. Yuka hechel yok pe le wahi Dennis Sunkaku taki andu chi dela da kti walk like yuka. Hechitu ashi hechitu. Onya watonish na daku Daka peti iohilaki wankapki he ab peti iohila we chonte wan uelo ab. We always face death every day, and so we enjoy the life that as we can, and the moments that we can, and the wonderful memories that life provides for us. So when I come here to St. Joseph's, whether it's just to driving through and just to drive through the campus and take a look at things, and it always brings back wonderful, wonderful memories of my time here at St. Joseph's Indian School and how much it has transformed physically, but more, I would say, spiritually in the feelings that I get as an individual from working here and from being associated, and the friendships that I have made through the years. And usually, when you're working somewhere, you don't, acquire that type of, those type of memories where you can truly say, that's my friend. So when I speak of my late friend Dennis Lukowski, and I say he was my mentor, he truly was. And then Father Cassidy, of course, I talked a little bit about Father Tom Cassidy and how his thought process and his prayers transformed this to what it is today, from 1976 to the present. And it's going to be 50 years here pretty soon that it's
right.
been. Yeah. And that's quite the deal. So I want to say thank you for inviting me to be here on this podcast.
Hey, it's an honor to have you here. And I obviously you speak fluent Lakota, right?
Yes.
And we'll come back to that a little bit later in our talk, because I want to hear a little bit more about that. But you came here in what year?
1976.
In 76,
Yeah.
And which I think is a pretty interesting year. We had Tom Cassidy on, as you said, and there were a lot of big changes that came around that time. But also, it was a really interesting time in terms of 1978 when the Native Americans were able to pray in their own way again and express their culture in a way. And the act, the 1978 Freedom of Religion Act, right, basically made some of those things possible. You were here at a very interesting time. And so in 78, you had a green light. Green light from the federal government to be able to do those things. But Father Cassidy said a lot of the cultural things were being done at that time, or at least starting to. You were part of that. You got to see some of those things happen at that time.
I met Harold and Geraldine at Fort Thompson, and I met and so I made time to come and take a look at St. Joseph's.
Mm-hmm.
And I applied. It didn't take too long for them to hire me. So when it came in the fall of 1976, it was nothing like it is now.
Okay.
The pay was very low,
Mm-hmm.
and the hours, oh my goodness. The hours we worked, it must have been 60 to 70 hours in a week
Yeah.
that we would work.
Right.
And there was 3 of us in the dormitory that were scheduled to work the dorm along with the dormitory head. And so I told Father Pitcabbage that time, I said, I'm going to go home and I'm going to look for work.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just isn't cutting it.
Right.
$300 every 2 weeks.
Right.
So, we don't want to lose you, he said. Well, a week or 2 later, he said, we changed it. I said, well, you changed what? We are going to give you double your salary rate, and we are going to give you benefits now. So I told the wife, and we had two boys at that time, so we chose to stay.
Yeah.
And when I chose to stay is when I really got to know my good friend Dennis Lapkowski. They made me, they put me in charge of the big boys dorm. Oh, you talk about being nervous. But the training that they gave to me to be able to do that job, I still use it to this day.
Oh, okay.
It was awesome because I don't have a college degree. I'm not a schoolboy. I'm not a book boy. I don't like books, but it was awesome. So then comes 1978, and the Indian Freedom of Religion Act was brought forward, and since '78, things have really changed. But the change was really you could see it at St. Joe's. There was more of the practice of Native Americans, in particular us Lakota, at that time, and that was led, I believe, by Harold and Geraldine Condon, and Geraldine, my cousin Geraldine's younger sister, Stephanie, Charging Eagle.
Exactly.
And they had grown up with that. They had lived it since they were little.
Yeah.
So they had a wealth of knowledge, so they brought that forward. And that was the start of that change in 1978.
Yeah.
So I was just along for the ride, and then they started the language program within the school. I can give credit to St. Joseph's for having that influence on us to be able to work with the language and keep working with the language for the use in the schools. So,
and you talked about the dorms. When you were working in the dorms, how many kids were you supervising in one room with bunk beds over in the dorm?
Oh my goodness, that first year was I don't know, to be 25 years old, going on 76, I was 23, going on 24. I don't think I could do what I did.
Right, it's a young man's game.
Yeah, see, it was a young man's game. But also with adding more pay and benefits, they hired more people.
Mm-hmm.
So working with 50 to 60 kids in the dormitories, the big boys and the little boys, they had 100 to 120 boys together. And
Together?
Together,
Yeah.
So, and there was approximately 16 of us, all to 8 in each dormitory, that would provide for the boys. And of course, the girls too, they up there, they did everything. They upped the employees working here. So, and then what was really instilled into us at that time was the need for communication. So weekly meetings were a must. The need for communication, like I said, I still use this in my life, and being able to communicate, being transparent and accountable. It was a must during that time. So handling that amount of children on a campus, and it was something that the training that we received as dormitory heads. And that second year I was going to come back, they asked me to come back. I believe it was 6 weeks ahead of the scheduled return of the students, because they did some awesome training.
Yeah.
They brought people in from the University of South Dakota, from South Dakota State University, and various people came to do that training. And one of the things that was mandated during the year for every employee was to take a parenting class.
Okay.
And I thought, what the heck do I need a parenting class for, you know? I was raised by my parents. My dad was a school teacher. My mom was a homemaker, and they never drank. And they raised me, and I'm doing a good job. But, again, what I learned in that parenting class, I still carry with me, and I share that with those that would like to listen, because, of course, we have St. Joseph's because of the need to help these young people. So what I saw that second year would just took me by it. I mean, it just, my heart hurt, because there was kids that were graduating from eighth grade, and we didn't have a high school program then, but they didn't want to leave St. Joe's. They wanted to stay. And so I thought, we're doing something right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Father Cassidy had asked me what my experience was with the boarding school, and I told him I had only been there for 1 year. But it was very similar working here at St. Joseph's in the rigidness of the protocols that were in place, even to how you make your bed for the bigger boys, and getting up in the morning all together, showering in the evenings, making the lines to count heads, and then go to the cafeteria to eat. All of those things that were there in line. But I told him, I said, you know, it doesn't allow for a young person to think. It doesn't allow for them, because everything is set this and during this time and do this and doing that. And so we need to be give them a little more freedom with their time, and be able to use their time with their own thought process. And Father Cassidy said, super. He said, because I want to send some of you to Boys Town in Omaha, because they have this new concept. They call it home living units. And so he did.
Yeah.
He sent some of us to Boys Town.
So, Virgil, your voice is known throughout the state. I called you at the top of this a legend, at least to me. You started a radio station for a couple of reservations, right? I mean, basically, was your broadcast area standing? You can
Standing Rock and Cheyenne River.
Cheyenne River,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And that wasn't an easy thing to bring about, correct? I mean, you had to put in a little work just to get to the microphone to start it with. And you did 20 years then.
Yes.
on air as Lakota Soul Man, which
Yes.
I love. Sam and Dave Soul Man, right? So you're retired now from that at
Right.
least, but it's quite a legacy. Can you just tell us a little bit about what that was like?
In 1990, a friend that I had grown up with, named Alex Lukinyuk, he was my cousin actually, my Tahashi, Alex, and I met him. I hadn't seen him for years because he enlisted in the Army, and he was gone. And you grow up together, and life takes you your own path. And I said, he said, "What are you doing nowadays?" So, I'm working for NBC. I was in Chicago for 8 years, and now I'm here in Rapid. I'm an engineer. Oh, really? Yes. I've been thinking about a radio station. Oh, it went from there.
Yeah.
1990. And for 7 years, we worked with another one of my relatives, Jana Shields Gipp, and we started pulling other individuals that were knowledgeable in the areas of grant writing and the things that we had to have. So we got that. We worked it for 7 years with nothing. We volunteered.
Mm-hmm.
And on June 25th of 1997, we came on air.
Okay, that was the first.
KLND.
Yeah.
It was a specific time because June 25th, 1876,
Mm-hmm.
is the Battle of Custer.
Yep.
So that was the significance of that date. So we got on air, and I was at the time, I was a board on the KLND board of directors, and our station manager, Mr. Dennis Newman, who was he was teaching communications at North Dakota State University. I don't know how we got him. He came, and he was our station manager for, I believe, 7 years, and he taught a lot of us, myself included. And he said, "Verge," he said, "do you have any our era music?" I said, "Mean 40s and 50s?" "No," he said, "No, I'm not that old." He said, "I mean 60s and 70s." "Yeah." I said, "But I got them on tape, cassette." "Well, we got cassette players." So my first time on air was in August of 1997, and with cassette tapes,
Okay.
mind you.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then slowly I built up my collection until got pretty huge.
Yep.
But and in those days we didn't have computer to look to.
Mm-hmm.
So our knowledge and with this training, stick to the music that you grew up with and you know about. I kept getting requests for Creedence Clearwater Revival. Oh my God!
Mhm.
So a friend of mine, I told him, I said, "How do I do this?" I said, "I'm trying to do this black music, soul music, but they keep asking for Creedence." And he says, "Well, don't you know?" I said, "Don't you know that Creedence Clearwater Revival music is Lakota Soul?" He said, "You are the Lakota Soul Man." And that's how I got my handle.
That's where it came
That's
from.
where
Okay.
it came from. I moved to the early mornings and wake up. Meaning I got up at 5 in the morning, got myself out the door. I live about 10 miles approximately from the station. So I'd get that trip and have to turn on the station
Mm-hmm.
and the transformer and all of that stuff, and then be good to go at 10 to 6.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's the early morning guy.
Yeah, yeah. But another thing with putting KLND in the middle of Indian country, it also, I think my feeling is it was probably a way to bring people together too, because now you have a way to be able to communicate with the two entire reservations and to share information in that way. I had to bring things closer together for the
Yeah.
reservation, I would assume.
That was the goal of
Okay.
of the
Yeah.
radio station, and we did have stations surrounding us, north of us in Bismarck, North Dakota.
K-Fire.
Yeah, K-Fire, and then to the east of us in Mobridge, South Dakota,
Yeah.
KOLY.
Okay.
So, and when I mentioned this to my cousin about, oh no, he said, "You'll know when we get on air that we're going to be totally different in providing the information and the news that Standing Rock and Cheyenne River are going to want to listen to. And so capturing that audience and being able to provide the information specific to Standing Rock and Cheyenne River, I saw. And so, and learning the basics and the ropes of providing this information and the work that was involved in it again, you're going to hear me say this a lot. I go back to St. Joe's and that training that I received specifically on communications. And knowing how to get along not only with the people I worked with, but the people that were listening to me.
And you're fluent in the language we talked about, but in recent years you contributed to what I know as the Standing Rock Next Generation Plan, the 2020 to 2045, correct? What advice do you have to the families that we work with in order to keep culture and language alive and vibrant for the next generations?
I think one of the things that and I'll be specific to St. Joe's and their transformation from having kind of forced down their throats with every day going to Mass and then going to the 2 a week Mass. What the children that were here, the male and female alike, learned that prayer was an important part of being who you are as an individual and who you are as a family. So when we look at the family concept at St. Joe's now, I guess pushes forward in the homes. It's a close to what a nuclear family should be. So promoting that aspect of it and having this knowledge provided to the children is really, really important. That God comes first and then family comes next. And then whatever else you're going to do in life, with sports or school or whatever is the priorities in your life is what I believe St. Joseph's provides. And that's the thing that I, as an individual, when I talk, I've learned through the years some of the things that a great leader of ours talks about, and he's known worldwide. He's been gone since that December 15th of 1890. Tatanka Iotake, Sitting Bull. Let us put our minds together and see what we can make for our children. And that's what I see here at St. Joseph's. And since I've been home in '82, it's always been my dream that something like this would be able to be provided at home for our children, because they are the ones that are suffering the consequences of the adults' choices. And it's not been good back home.
You've done these things all your life. You started working with kids when you were a young guy. You promoted culture. You've promoted caring for children, whether you did it here at St. Joe's, you did it on the air with your radio show, or whether you're doing it at Standing Rock right now, coming back to the powwow. It's all about the kids and about the next generation that comes along. And I think you can get caught up in a long life. I don't know how old you are now, but in a lifetime of memories and a lifetime of work, and you kind of forget sometimes what the impact is, and you forget about looking at the big picture. And so I want to say Wopila to you, Virgil, for keeping this school in your heart, for talking good about us. We do good things here, and it's important for people to hear that. It really is. And I want to say, I talked about standing on the shoulders of giants too, and we do. And I say Wopila to you for that too. And I wish the best for you and your family. But Wopila for being here in Ho-Choka here with us today.
You're welcome. I say thank you for inviting me, and but I'm really thankful for this podcast, and being able to reach more people. And I hope that people will be willing to come and visit the school again now that it's opened up, that and see the wonderful things that are here, because these children are the beneficiaries of the good hearts of many, many people throughout the country and probably throughout the world too. So I'm thankful for that.
We are sacred ones here,
Yes.
the kids that we work with here, for sure. So I thank you again, and I just want to say that we had a nice walk down memory lane, some good stories, but we also talked about the future, and we want to thank you so much for being here, and we want to thank everybody for being here with us at Hochoka at the center of St. Joseph's Indian School campus, where we talk about issues that are central to Native American education today. Until the next time, we'll stay centered.